Hi, the position of the sun is probably one of the most important parts of your horoscope, which will tell you so much secrets about the person or about yourself, which can give you an indication even about your career, which can give you an indication of where to find actually the sun, as I have written here, will give you a sense of identity, the main role in your life. It will give you a sense of personal power, where you're going to get your personal power, your self-confidence, your self-esteem. And if you develop the house where the sun is situated, which I will teach you how to do this, you will gain all of those things. And usually the sun develops, starts becoming more visible and starts developing in the life, the energy of the sun, after the age of 30. So you might start seeing that you're filling up those roles indicated by the sun, and that your confidence and personal power starts coming better and better after the age of 30 and more visible. And how do you find which house the sun is situated in your horoscope at the moment when you were born? There are two ways, and I want you to check it both ways. It's complex to explain why, but there are two house systems, and I want you to check it both ways. They both work. One is based on the ascendant, on the signs. The other one is based on the separation of the space around by certain spatial measures, which is too complex to explain. Just make sure that you check both ways. Sometimes they will be the same, sometimes there will be a slight difference. How do you find the house system of the sun? You go to my website, AstroLada.com. You enter your time of birth. It's very important to know the house position of the sun. You cannot find it without the time of birth, because the house system are based on the time of birth. So this is only for people who know their time of birth at least within 10-15 minutes of exact time, and enter it. And once you get the chart, this is the chart I have. Those of you who know Western astrology, they might be using such a chart. It doesn't matter, it's the same, it shows the same. It's just the beginning of the chart that I have on my website starts here at the top, the first house. This is the horizon, the eastern horizon. The beginning is always the eastern horizon. We put it on the top in the in where my website is, but the Western chart will put the ascendant here on the on this side. You know, just the beginning of the two charts is different. And I want you to check where the sun is situated. The sun will be indicated by SU, the letters SU. And I want you to see in which of the squares it is situated, counting from the ascendant. So if this is always this first square is the ascendant, and this is how the other signs progress. So we want to see in what sign from the ascendant the sun is relevant to the ascendant. So you just count. For instance, the sun might be here. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's in the fifth sign from the ascendant. So you remember the fifth sign and you watch the video for the sun in fifth house. And I want you also to check in which house the sun is in relation to the Roman numerical numbers that I have on my website. They indicate house cusps. They're more specific. They're more how do I say, more sharp expression of the position of the sun. And for instance, here, it might be, where is the fourth square, it might be the third house cusp. It's the fourth sign from the ascendant, but it might be the third house cusp. And I want you to check if your sun is here, also the video for the sun in the third house. So basically, I want to, for instance, if your sun is like that, I want you to check the sun in fourth and in third houses, because both the number of signs the sun is from the ascendant will count as a house, and both the house cusp, which is with the sun will influence this house cusp. So the sun will feel like being in the third house and like being in the fourth house. And also here you might also have the cusp of the second house, the second Roman numerical, you know. So I want you, if you have two of those Roman numerical numbers, check both houses, third and second house, for the explanation of the position of the sun. For most of you, it will be very simple. Sun, it says here. If sun is here, it will be the second sign from the ascendant. So you check the second house and the second house cusp from the ascendant as well. For most of you, for 70%, it will be the same. The sign from the ascendant and the house cusp that is in that sign will be the same. But for some people who are born a bit to north, or too south from the equator, there will be a difference. And I want you to check specifically the Roman numerical number, what number it is. Check the video for that sign, for that house, and also for the number of the sun counted from the ascendant, in which square it is. Thank you. The sun in the first house. It means that when you look at the chart, you will see the sun here. And that will be the first Roman numerical. Or if you're using Western chart, you will see the sun here. In the sign of the ascendant, which means that you were born when the sun was rising. This is exactly during sunrise. And it was in the sign where the horizon, the cusp of the first house is exactly the line of the horizon. This is 1 degree where the horizon on the east crosses the zodiac sign, crosses the sky where the sun is rising. So it will mean that you are born approximately within an hour of the sunrise. If you have the sun in the ascendant, and these are very special people. Actually, some of the most evolved people are born when the sun is rising, because this is very spiritual, very powerful influence. Basically, in esoteric books, it says that some of the biggest teachers and some of the most evolved souls are born during sunrise. Unfortunately, I'm not one of them, but maybe some of you will be. But it's not necessary that everyone who is born during sunrise will be a very evolved soul. I'm just saying that evolved souls choose to be incarnated, to be born during sunrise, but not everyone with this position will be an evolved soul. But usually these are people who will be quite noble, who have strength of character, who have a lot of presence. The first house indicates the person himself, and when the sun is there, the person becomes like the sun, like an incarnation of the sun. Powerful presence, inspirational figure. Whenever they go, they will be noticed, those people. You know, they're not someone who stays in the corner and no one notices them. Even if they're not, it doesn't mean you have to be a bravado or something. In some extreme cases, when the sun is a bit hurt by other planets, it can be someone who is overcompensating and bravado and posing. But usually it's a natural sense of authority one has, one natural aura of noticeability. Like whenever they go, people will just give respect to them. They treat them with respect, with authority, and there is a kind of a feeling of like a noble king or queen about this person. Of course, there are always exceptions. When the sun is hurt by certain difficult aspects of difficult planets, it can make the person go either extreme, either not having at all this natural confidence and this natural flow, or overcompensating, being overly proud, overly selfish, overly involved with themselves, because the first house is the self, and the sun there puts a big focus on the self. So sometimes I've seen people who are pain in the ass to deal with, because they're just too much into themselves. But hopefully, the majority of people with sun in the first house just have this natural confidence, this natural solar quality, and the solar quality is magnetism, is confidence, and is basically self-esteem about themselves, and others feel it and they give them respect as well. And ability for leadership. The sun is a leader, so often these people, career-wise, as we said, the sun shows your main role in life. These people can grow to be very good leaders, especially if the sun is in a good sign, fire sign, like Aries, like Leo, where the sun feels very powerful, like Sagittarius. But also for the other signs as well, not as much, but still, if you have the sun in the first house, you can be in one of your roles, because the first house shows your path in life as well, your major path in life, and it will be a solar path in life. Someone who is supposed to be a leader, someone who is supposed to be an example to the others, someone who is sometimes a bit too much into themselves, but they have to be in order to lead and give example. Inspirational figure as well you can be if you have the sun in the first house. Businesses, people with the sun in the first house are good at opening their own business, unless the sun is hurt a lot, and some other things in the horoscope, show. But they're good for leaders, for bosses, for such inspirational figures, also people who need to be on stage and to be seen, like speakers, like musicians, like artists. The sun is the planet of singing as well, the planet of the musician. The sun rules inspiration, and often when it's in the first house, these are a bit more inspired and creative people than normal But it's not the only way to judge career. So don't say if you have the first sun in the first house, that's it, I have to be a leader or perform or something. No, it's not that. Sun is one of the ways to judge careers. So it's not fully, But usually people tend to grow into their confidence more after the age of 30. Their leadership abilities come into visibility more also from the age of 30. Personal power, these people, the personal power, they have it within themselves, because the first house rules the self. And usually they tend to have good, well built up bodies because the first house rules the body, the overall appearance of the person. So they have like a good, the sun is supposed to be in esoteric astrology one of the most positive planets. Of course, is the most powerful because it's the one that gives life. So these are people who give life to everything around them. Who can energize others as well, and they tend to have quite good self-esteem about themselves, quite good self-confidence, and it's very important that they find their calling in life. And usually those people tend to especially after 30, to become very powerful presence in very powerful person as it is. Very solar person, active. Such people tend to be also very active and outgoing in life. It will not be someone who just cannot stay at home and just can't figure out. It's like someone overly depressed. There are some very overly feminine or receptive. This is someone who is, creative person, who is masculine energy of the sun, who is leadership energy. If someone is not like that after 30, if they haven't seen these qualities and the sense of personal power growing into them after 30, when the sun becomes strong, it means that the sun is very strongly damaged in the horoscope, which means it's either with Saturn here in the first house, or Saturn is aspecting it, or some other planet which is suppressing those solar qualities. But for now, generally, this is what the influence of the sun in the first house is quite a good position.